Good morning, class. A number of you are still having trouble figuring out which beat a song starts on. So I'm going to go through today's quiz and explain the examples. So here's one that's in 4/4, which means, to review the time signature, the bottom number tells us that which note gets the beat. So when it's a 4, that means the quarter note, the 1/4 note, gets the beat. These are quarter notes. And there will be 4 of them per measure when the measure is full. However, a lot of songs start with incomplete measures, as does this one. Here we only have one note before the first measure bar, one quarter note. And whenever that is the case, then the top number kind of tells us the answer, because there'll be 4 beats per measure, and here you can see the full measure. The first note would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, in this measure, we're missing these first 3 notes, and so we're going to start on beat 4, the last beat of the measure. The answer there is 4. Here, we have 2 more notes. We have 3 notes before the first measure bar, still not a full measure, so our answer is not 1. We're actually missing this note in this measure. We're missing the first beat. And so this one starts on beat 2. And you can test if your answer is right by counting out the measure and seeing if you get to 4 before you have to start over at 1. And if you count this as a 2, this will be 2, 3, 4, and yes, we're ready for 1 after the measure bar. Remember, the first note after the measure bar should always be counted as 1. Now there's 2 things that make this one a little tricky. First of all, we're moving to 3/4, so there's only 3 beats per measure, and so that immediately tells us that 4 cannot be the answer because there's only 3 beats per measure. And we have eighth notes instead of quarter notes. So you have to know for this one that 2 eighth notes equals 1 quarter note. So again, we have 1 beat before the first measure bar, just like the first exercise. This would get counted something and then an. Well, what is the something so that this becomes beat 1? Well, if you call this beat 1, for example, 1 and, that would make this 2. Okay, so it can't be 1 and. Let's try 2. 2 and 3. Nope, can't be that one. Has to be the 3, right? 3 and we're ready to start over at 1 because there's 3 beats per measure. This answer is 3. Which beat does the following song start on? Well, in this case, we have 3 quarter notes. The first measure is a full measure. It's not incomplete, and so in that case, the answer is 1. When we have a full measure, the answer is always 1. Here, we have 2/4. That means there's 2 beats per measure. That immediately tells us 3 and 4 are not the answer. And we only have 1 beat before the first measure bar, and so that tells us that this number is the answer. It's going to be the last beat of the measure, so this is beat 2, and then we start over at beat 1, 2. The answer here is 2. I hope that helps you to understand this concept a little better.